Now, the world between worlds is a relatively newly introduced concept that was first introduced during Star Wars Rebels. Dave Filoni said the idea was inspired by the World Between Worlds, which came from the Narnia books written by C.S. Lewis. In the episode Path of the Jedi, we watched Ezra unlock it by figuring out the puzzles with the hands on the Mortis God murals. Ezra ended up putting his hand on the daughter, and in the end, this gave him access to the dimension. Now, Ahsoka ended up burning her hand trying to grab the star map last time, and this is likely how she was able to journey into the other realm. Now, what it is gets a little bit complicated, but it is something that the Jedi have known about for millennia. Appearing in the sacred Jedi texts on the Temple of Aktu, bless you, it allowed someone to step into a dimension that existed outside of both time and space. I don't know how deep you are into Marvel, mate, because I don't know you yet, but let's assume if you're watching this video, you're a dork. Now in that we have the multiverse, but in between the universes we have a realm that connects them, which you have to pass through as a barrier in order to get from one universe to the next. That's not exactly how the world between worlds works, but the principle is the same, with it being something within the fabric of time and space that gives you access to everything. I know there's lots of confusion with multiverses and other universes and galaxies, but it's also important to bear in mind that this isn't necessarily a Marvel multiversal situation. We're not going to get Darth Vader, for example, popping up with David Prowse's voice and stuff.
Start tearing this ship apart piece by piece until you find those tapes. Find the passengers of this vessel. I want them alive!
And we're not going to be getting different versions of characters, it's just an element outside of time and space. Now, during the World Between Worlds' first appearance, we saw as Ezra actually saved Ahsoka from her battle with Darth Vader. Pulling her out of time, she was able to survive the encounter and continue past it when in the past she hadn't. That makes sense. Anyway, after saving her, Bridger wished to also save his master Kanan, but she talked him out of it due to what Jarrus sacrificed his life for. Now they went to close the portal to the World Between Worlds, which is when they realized that Emperor Palpatine was trying to access it. They managed to escape and then shut it down, stopping the Dark Lord from having complete control over everything. Now when discussing what's going on here, Henry Gilroy said that the World Between Worlds will appear slightly different for everyone else. Like the cave on Dagobah, it's what you bring into it that affects certain things, and your connection to the Force will manifest differently. For example, with Ezra we saw as wolves surrounded the doorway, and here Anakin's pulled across because he was Ahsoka's master. It's also important to bear in mind that the doorways of the World Between Worlds are linked to both Jedi and Sith temples. Now, MT actually pointed out that Vader's castle on Mustafar was built to be a conduit, and that in issue 25 of his solo comic, he stepped through this barrier in order to try and save Padme. There are ways to replay the past in the Star Wars universe, but unfortunately, this can often torture one instead of actually helping them.